Hello, this is Paul Chek. Welcome back to my blog. Hey, it's getting close to Santa, so today I thought I would show you how to be a holistic Santa Claus. So we all know, and we all have many experiences of this, that there are people that we love and care about in our families, in our circle of friends, people at work that we watch and see eating stuff that's not helping them at all. We see them struggling, going on diet after diet, going to the gym, getting hurt, going into rehab, etc., etc. People that are stuck in the poor me loop, people that just can't seem to make their life happen. And I know it's hard to watch a lot of this stuff, and sometimes we're stuck in it ourselves too. And one of the things that I've found is a box of chocolates doesn't really make a difference. Neither does some quick present from a toy store or something just to pass a gift and conform to the corporate holiday structure. But when we give people something that has real meaning and real value and gives them the tools to change their life and to find and live their dreams more fully, then we know that at least we've provided them with an option to grow, heal, and become. So today, I thought I'd take a few minutes, since Christmas is coming up right around the corner here, to overview some of the products that I have created that we sell through the Chek Institute that could be very, very valuable, life-changing gifts for you, your friends, your family, and others. And I can say this with tremendous conviction because, as most of you know, I teach the Chek system all over the world and have been in this game now for 31 years or more, I can't remember. And I've had the pleasure of watching literally thousands and thousands of people come to HLC 1, Holistic Lifestyle Coach Level 1, with all sorts of health problems, from cancer and diseases to obesity to anorexia and bulimia, to you name it. And in as little as 6 months, they come to HLC2 and are radically transformed, often using no more drugs. I've got many letters from mothers whose children came off of drugs doing nothing but following the Eat, Move, and Be Healthy plan. So when I see this over and over again, I feel very gratified and I feel good about sharing these products with you, not only from the perspective of a businessman who has to sell his information to maintain a living and keep the Institute alive, but from the perspective of having so much life experience of seeing people's lives transformed. And I am the source of the products. So as a 53-year-old man who can still do what he could do in high school football for lifting weights, sprinting, and all sorts of stuff, and can still bang out single-arm chin-ups and keep up with the young girls, I would say that that's the best I can do as a testament to what my products offer. Not to mention the fact that if you were just to look at my resume and see what I've done in my life, you'd see that I've been a very, very busy man and quite productive using the principles that I teach. So let's take a quick review of what I have to support your potential interest in being a holistic Santa Claus. First and foremost, I have a multimedia ebook. You've probably heard me reference it many times on the blogs. This is the cover, just in case you're looking on the website. The last 4 doctors you'll ever need is actually a synthesis of my overall philosophy of life and how to live it and how to take care of yourself. And it is a step down in complexity from How to Eat, Move, and Be Healthy. It's a little simpler. It's a multimedia ebook, so it's got videos, it's got audios, it's got slideshows, and it's a fairly simple but profound look at life, and it helps you create healthy values for yourself, helps you find your dream and orient your choices around something that you really want to create in your life. And it's cheap. I think it's 25 bucks or something like that. 25 bucks to change your life or somebody else's life. I think that's pretty reasonable. Now all these things can be got or purchased at www.chekinstitute.com, and you can see the products in the shop are broken up by audios, courses, things like that. My book, How to Eat, Move, and Be Healthy, I know that I've referenced the hell out of that thing. Well, there's a good reason, because I put my heart and soul into this book. It took me 3 years to write it and edit and write and edit and write and edit and trim it down and synthesize it down to the essential things that I thought everybody must know in order to essentially figure out what's going on with them and have some sort of a highly individualized plan. To my knowledge, there's not many books in the world that do this. The book gives you a series of health appraisal questionnaires, which then you score. It weights your score and shows you in key categories of physiological function and various body systems where your greatest stress load is, and then gives you very specific instructions on how to go about lowering those scores so that you can retain your health and vitality again, or regain it and retain it. This book's been used all over the world in nutrition programs, in prisons. You wouldn't believe it. The list of letters I've gotten is too long to even begin to mention. That book can be got at the Institute, or it can get on. You can get it on Amazon.com. Again, around 25 bucks. Change Your Life, has changed the lives of many. Next, You Are What You Eat audiobook. And as you can see here, what you don't know can and does kill you. You Are What You Eat is 9 hours, if I remember right, of audio that I had to cut out of the book, How to Eat, Move, and Be Healthy. So I had to cut it down because the people that we were consulting, publishing experts, said that if the book was more than about 220 pages, the chances of people reading it went way down. So I cut 123 pages, if I remember right, of information on food, food packaging, food storage, hygiene, what they're doing to food, things that you can't even imagine. How do they adulterate the food? How do they make it last longer on the shelf? How do they store it? How are they using chemicals? Stuff that will probably shock you, but is essential to know, and important information on things like reading labels. So You Are What You Eat is an audio workbook set. Also, You Are What You Eat is unique in that many kids seem to really like it. I've had a number of people tell me that their children love listening to You Are What You Eat on the way to school in the car. I even had one of my students get called to the principal's office because his daughter in high school got so tired of all the kids asking her questions about how she keeps her body so great, and she was a dancer and a track and field champion, that she finally stood up on the table in the cafeteria one day and gave a whole lecture to everybody about why they were killing themselves eating the poison that they were feeding in the cafeteria, only to end up in the principal's office. And Chaz Barkley, my level 3 Czech practitioner in Australia, went down there, and though the principal was expecting him to be empathetic to her issue, he became quite unempathetic and said congratulations to his daughter, and why are you feeding such crap to children in schools? So You Are What You Eat has a positive effect even on children and teenagers. I've heard that many times. HLC1, Holistic Lifestyle Coach Level 1. If some of you have been through some of these resources and feel you'd like to go to the next level, Holistic Lifestyle Coach Level 1 training is open to everyone. I've had kids in there, 16-year-old kids, 16, 17-year-olds. Many of them come with their parents. I've had old people in there, young people, business people, executives, doctors, nurses, therapists, you name it, I've seen it all in that class. And it is really a 3-day intensive on how to fully apply and live the principles in my book, How to Eat, Move, and Be Healthy, expanding on things like working in exercises, zone exercises, and we take you through it in quite detail, and it's a life-changing course, as I mentioned earlier. So that's a 3-day course. You can go to the Chek Institute to find out when it runs next and where it runs. We run them all over the world. Next, my DVD series, which is one of the most recent products I developed. It's called Healing Fungal and Parasite Infections, The Absolute Essentials. It's 4 DVDs loaded with highly practical, very, very important information. One of the primary causes of parasite and fungal infections, which can do tremendous damage to glands, organs, your small intestine, disrupt digestion and elimination severely, cause toxicity in the body, can disable organs. Many of the parasites have favorite organs they love to lay their eggs in. It disrupts your sleep. It can exhaust the adrenal glands, throw all hormonal systems out of balance, cause rapid aging, constipation, diarrhea, skin trouble, joint aches, swelling in the body, accumulation of water and fluid, giving women cellulite, cottage cheese bottoms, and soggy bodies, and much, much more. Not to mention the fact that research shows about 90% of people worldwide have both a fungal and a parasite infection. And in my research, I track this back largely to poor quality food in the food supply, commercial farming, and the use of food chemicals both in the farming and food processing industry, as well as many essential hygiene factors. People just do not know how to take care of their bodies. They don't know the importance of keeping things like kitchens and bathrooms clean, washing their hands, and many things that seem sort of innocuous. But when you add all these factors together, it can cause serious health problems, and I have helped rehabilitate uncountable athletes with performance problems and chronic reoccurring of injuries who had fungal and parasite infections, and everybody from the world-class athlete all the way to the housewife and the executive business person. I kept this quite simple. This is a plan anybody can follow. If you're 12 years of age or more, you could probably understand what's in here. I would say this is one of the most important programs I've ever put together, and it's quite complete. So that's that. Next we go over here to some of my more self-help based stuff, my PPS Success Mastery program I developed, I think 2006 or so. What I did was, well, it happened because my wife noticed that the people that I had spent the most time with in my own instructor base when I was training them seemed to be doing much better in general in their life. They were capable of managing themselves more effectively, or even people that were my clients that had done longer stays with me and more intensive focuses. So my wife inspired me to put together an online learning program so that people could come learn how to overcome common obstacles or roadblocks to their own health, vitality, and success in life. So I analyzed years of my case histories and looked at what was going on around me and said, what would be the 12 most important things I could put a lesson together on to help people? And that became the PPS Success Mastery program. The first 3 lessons are the most foundational. PPS Success Lesson 1 is how to find and live your legacy. And these lessons are also available at ppssuccess.com or at chekinstitute.com. How to find and live your legacy really is the first and most important lesson because it takes you through a very carefully designed process that I put together after using myself and others to perfect the lessons on. It helps you identify the 10 key components of any dream. In other words, if your dream is to build a house, what are the 10 key things you need to know in order to make that dream happen? If your dream is to become a lawyer, a doctor, a pilot, or a Chek practitioner, what are the 10 key things you've got to know? One of the things that I do that's quite unique in the program is I take you through a life review, and I use various forms of education to show you how to identify where the challenging times in your life actually may have the secrets to a much more abundant and successful future. So we do what I refer to in Arnold Patton's word as looking into the problem and unzipping it to see what is the gift behind that. And in every case of me teaching this as a live workshop, I've had numerous cases, I can't even count them all, where people were really just crying their eyes out because after years of living in combative relationships with spouses and parents and even themselves, they realized that all the pain and entanglement they had created was really based on the ignorance of what the gift behind the pain was. So I take you through a very careful process and give you the components of a legacy and take you through a mind mapping process so you know how to lay your dream out so your legacy can be your overarching purpose in life or your dream at this stage in your life. Remember, if you don't know where you're going, any road will get you there. So when you don't have a dream, you don't have any sense of direction in life. It's also very interesting to note that Daniel Siegel, MD, in his research on attachment and detachment disorders in children from parents, which is the source of a lot of problems today, found that the #1 correlating factor in families where children had attachment and detachment disorders was parents that did not have a clear sense of direction in life. In other words, they didn't have a dream, and they didn't have a dream they could communicate to their children to encapsulate and explain why times get tight sometimes, why we're doing the things that we're doing. So it leads to kids that are very, very afraid and confused. So how to find and live your legacy could be the greatest gift not only for you, but for your children. Lesson 2 is self-management, and in there I share the science of brainwashing. I show you quite a comprehensive expose of the known science of brainwashing so that you can see how it is that you have become, shall we say, overly convinced, dogmatic, or fanatic about key ideas, whether they be religious ideas, food ideas, such as various dogmas, be it veganism, vegetarianism, or even meat eating can become a dogma. The primal thing is just another example of people going too far to another extreme. So once you understand the science of brainwashing, you can use that science to wash your own brain of entanglements and fears and behaviors that probably don't serve you really well. And this lesson also has a very, very nice, concise overview of how to apply basic 4-doctor concepts in your own life. Lesson 3 completes my foundation package for PPS training. It's on goal setting, and lesson 3 takes you through a step-by-step process, gives you the science of goal setting, and teaches you some techniques that I developed. So lesson 3 is really, now that I know what my dream is and I know how to manage myself effectively, how can I put it into a structured plan of process and outcome goals, and how can I reinforce myself so that I have a higher likelihood of participating fully in my own life. A gift I'll give you from that lesson, I developed a test called the Grand Canyon test. If you say what your dream or goal is to the Grand Canyon, it will say it back to you as an echo. So for example, if you say to the Grand Canyon, my dream is that I want to lose 30 pounds in 6 weeks, the Grand Canyon will say back to you, I want to lose 30 pounds in 6 weeks. And this is exactly how most people set goals. But the key factor is that Great Spirit takes you at your word, literally. So the active verb in that statement is wanting. So 6 weeks comes, you haven't lost the 30 pounds, and you don't realize what you've asked for is to want to lose 30 pounds. So the Grand Canyon test, if done properly, would say back to you exactly what you have acquired. I have lost 30 pounds in 6 weeks. I look and feel great. The Grand Canyon says, I have lost 30 pounds in 6 weeks. I look and feel great. That way we learn how to channel our thought and our emotional energy into the agent of our own creation. If we don't have clear consciousness of how word manifests as embodied experience, then we walk around wondering why the world is so shitty to us and others seem to be having a great time. So the course teaches you very clear, concise, practical methods for goal setting that I've used for my whole life effectively. Next is my 1, 2, 3, 4 for overcoming addiction, obesity, and disease. It's 11 hours of audio, 10 or 11 hours of audio, and about a 134-page workbook. This was my gift to people with addictions, obesity, and disease, which I feel sad because so many of the people with these problems are subject to corporate hijacking, misinformation, addiction to medical drugs, addiction to processed food, sugar, and many of them don't have a fighting chance because they don't have enough knowledge about how life works and how the body works to make better decisions. So they believe what they hear on television. They believe that because it's backed by science or someone was wearing a white jacket that they're being told the truth, which you'd think by now people would wise up, but unfortunately many of them haven't. So this program takes you through a process that is a, shall we say, simplified version of what I would do if you were to hire me at $500 an hour as your therapist to take you through this process. But most anybody that is truly ready to heal can follow this process and make massive gains towards total mental, emotional, and physical freedom. And I teach you all about habits, habit loops, problems that people get into. I give you a comprehensive explanation of what love really is and how it works in our life, and why many of the reasons that people are addicted to things is because they are sources of safe love. You can smoke cigarettes all day long and they never complain about how you kiss them. You can cuddle up to a bottle at night, get shit-faced drunk, forget about all the challenges in your life, and wake up and nobody expects a phone call, an email, or for you to take the garbage out. So once you start really looking into the problems that our culture has and around the world, and you see what addiction, obesity, and disease really is at its root, you'll find that many of the principles are really based on misunderstandings, a lack of spiritual maturity to see that some of the pains and challenges in our life are actually opportunities for us to grow. And the program gives you an opportunity to learn a lot about yourself, a lot about life, a lot about communication, a lot about relationships, a tremendous amount about love, and gives you empowerment to create what you want for yourself. I was very proud of myself one day when I got a phone call from a psychologist who had been coaching people in the prison system and been a psychologist for 35 years. And I can't remember if it was a phone call or an email, but he gave me a real nice correspondence. And he said in his correspondence to me, Paul, he says, you have come to the same conclusions that I have after 35 years as a psychologist, and I really appreciate this program. And he was using it in the prison system. So I was very excited to hear that. It made me feel great. So finally, we go to scientific back training and scientific core conditioning, two of my most commonly used worldwide correspondence courses. These courses are actually used in universities all over the world. I don't know how many now, but many. Scientific core conditioning is a comprehensive look at how the core, which is everything that you have left if you take your arms and legs off, how the core works, how the muscles integrate and communicate and react to organs and glands, the science of how to assess the core, how to rehabilitate the core, how to deal with post-pregnancy abdominal weakness, how to deal with spinal problems, back pain, pelvic girdle disorders, postural problems. The list of things that come from core dysfunction is phenomenal. Any personal trainer who studies that course could double or triple their annual income, because the number of people they will be able to help and the number of people that need help with core control problems is massive. I also share with you how inflammation of the organs from bad dietary practices and consuming foods with chemicals can lead to chronic musculoskeletal dysfunction. Its sister course, which was actually the first one produced, is scientific back training. Scientific back training takes very much the same information flow and structure as scientific core conditioning, but its orientation with tests, stretches, exercises, mobilizations, and postural assessments is all oriented toward back problems as opposed to the core, which is a more general approach to core function. This course has been used all over the world very, very successfully by elite sports teams, hospitals, physical therapy clinics, chiropractic, osteopathic, you name it. It's basic training for Chek practitioners coming into the exercise coach program and moving onward. These two correspondence courses, if you're at least an athlete and you have a basic understanding of anatomy, could change your life. And for those of you that are struggling at your job and really like exercise and might want a career change, if you get into those courses, if you can handle those and you feel comfortable with that material, you probably have what it takes to make a career change to be a Chek practitioner or a certified personal trainer or something like that. So Santa Claus has delivered a holistic opportunity for Christmas and the New Year for all of you. Thank you for joining me. I hope you have had the opportunity to explore some of these programs, books, audios, etc. already, and I look forward to hearing from you how they work in your life and the lives of your loved ones. Thanks for joining me.